Out of all the books that I've done for this year, I would like to say this book for sure is one of my favorites. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Hey everyone, it's a Southern Sling book club and we're back for another video where we're talking about The Lady in the Lake. If this is something that you're interested in hearing from all entirety, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in just a second.
May need this nugget of encouragement. Things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it. The odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such no.
So hey guys, welcome back. This is the review for Lady in the Lake. This will be an Apple TV series that will be coming out on July 19th of 2024. So I hope you guys will also enjoy this book review, but we will see it in real time on Apple TV, and then we'll also do another review over there. I also want to mention that this video is for entertainment and for opinion based only, so please don't drag me in the comments. I love telling books in full entirety from beginning to end. So this is something that you are not interested in. I'm so sorry, but this is not the video for you. But I hope that you would like other content that we have. So this is the tale of two women, one black and one white. One is by the name of Cleo and the other one is by the name of Madeline. This book is taking place in the 1960s in Baltimore, Maryland, and we have an interesting twist and turns in this book that you are not expecting. So we're starting off at the beginning of this book with Cleo, and she is describing her life living in Baltimore with two kids and how she's basically have been dealing with certain men that haven't been the best choices that she's done in her life. Um, she kind of is mad at Madeline at the beginning because none of this would have been brought up if she would have just stayed in her place and mind her own business. But Miss Madeline is a housewife, a white woman who is trying to make her mark in the journalist world. And she ends up trying to get some cases in order to just make her stamp where she is. Now, Miss Madeline, like I said, is a housewife and she is married to Milton. They were almost high school sweethearts, but she loves to entertain different people all over. And one of the people that she invites is a classmate by the name of Wally. And Wally is coming over to the home so that they can embark on memories that they had when they were in school. Wally was one of her prom dates when she was in school, and they got a chance to actually talk and get to know each other. And it was an attraction at first, but then it ended up not being one when Wally dumped her at the end of the night. Shortly, a couple of months after, she ended up marrying Milton and they ended up having a son by the name of Seth. After this short little brief moment with Wally at the home with Milton, Seth, and Madeline, Madeline decides that she does not want to be married anymore and wants to be separated from Milton so that she can embark on her dreams as being a journalist in Baltimore. So as we continue on with the story of her in Baltimore, Maryland, she is getting an apartment in a rough part of town. Well, they didn't say rough, it was more of a mixed part of town. And she is just trying to get her money together and really trying to be a new journalist. Seth decides that he will come and spend time with her. He really wants to spend most of his time with his dad. So she ends up getting like a one-bedroom apartment by herself so that she can continue on with her career. But she is hustling to get this money together. And so her husband is trying to give her some money, but not as much as she needs to actually be by herself. And so she is going to the pawn shop to be able to sell her engagement ring so that she can be able to get at least $2,000 to be able to pay for her journey. Now, the pawn shop person is not trying to give her what she's asking for. He's only going to give her about $500. She needs more. So she ends up doing a little scheme to be able to get the money that she needs. Now, the ring has been insured for $2,000. So she goes and hides it, runs out into the middle of the street, and then that's when she meets Freder. Now, Freder is a black man who is patrolling the streets as Baltimore's police department, and he says to her that he will call the burglary detectives. They will try to get somebody to look into the case while her house has been ransacked. Now, she did this all on her own. She did took clothes and threw them all on the floor, and then she has opened up windows and doors in order to be able to make it look like a real crime scene. And so then when Freder comes with the burglary detectives, they went ahead and made sure that they made a report so that she could be able to get the $2,000 that she needed to start her career. In the midst of her getting this money that she needs to get, She also gets into a romantic relationship with Freda, and he is a black man. Like I said, she's a white woman, and they secretly, behind closed doors, are starting an affair. Where they're not going out in public, but they're just spending time in the bedroom. Now, what I did like about the book that made it so interesting is that throughout each time that you're hearing from Cleo, throughout each time that you're hearing from Madeline, you're also getting different vantage points of different people that they run into. So December 31st was the first time that Cleo has gone missing. Nobody has heard from Cleo. And the kids are left with her mom and dad. Another person that has gone missing is a young lady by the name of Tessie Fine. And Tessie Fine is a young schoolgirl who wanted to buy a bra. She had been saving up because her body is changing a lot faster than the kids at the school. And so she wants to go get this bra, but she is putting up a scheme in order to do it. She's riding with this young mom who is carpooling them. So she tells her that she has to stop by the pet store for her brother because she has to get some fish food for them. And when she goes into the store, she goes missing. Madeline is trying to take this onto a case so that she can become a reporter. That is her main goal, is to be a reporter throughout this whole entire book. But she has to get certain cases in order to make it big to get to that position. So while Madeline is trying to find the evidence on what has happened to Tessie Fine, she is scrolling with her friend down a certain street. Now the street is not a busy street, but it's enough traffic enough where anybody could have seen a certain body that was there, and they were scrolling down that street and they find Tessie Fine's body. So to start off the first case that Miss Madeline is trying to crack, the evidence is that we have the pet store clerk who was inside of the store, a young man who was pretty much just like a ginger, and he was a little off. He wasn't retarded is the best word, and I really don't want to use that word. He wasn't slow, but he wasn't the brightest child. And so he didn't get a chance to talk to Tessie too much, but he got a chance to ask her if there was anything that she wanted in the store. She said she was just looking. Basically, she was just waiting for that mom to go down the street so that she can go out the door and go next door to the bra shop. But we did find some more evidence as far as DNA that was underneath the young man's fingernails, and his name is Stephen. And also inside of her hair, there was some sand from an aquarium, and it had to be something that was inside of the pet store. So that's why they made him one of the main suspects that was in this case. So Maddie, decides that she wants to reach out to Stefan by letter so that she could see if he would tell her anything. And he pretty much was playing with her. He said a few little things, but nothing as far as I did it. But she kind of took that information to one of the people at a news stand and, well, at a news publishing house, and she got a chance to get a column of a couple of stories and got a job there, so that she can be able to embark on her dream of being a reporter. Now, as far as the second case for Chloe, what happened, that was by accident. That Maddie didn't even really do too much. It just pretty much just propped into her lap. And it was really funny because when Cleo was telling her side of the story at the beginning of the book, and this is the black woman who went missing, her name is Cleo Sherwood. She was so mad at Madeline because she pretty much ruined her life digging into a case that she really just didn't need to embark on. But like I said, she was so hungry to be a reporter. She just really just wanted to do everything that she could to be able to get that position. So one day she as the job that she has presented, well, the job that she was presented is not the best position. She, like I said, she wants to be a reporter, but they had her opening mail. So she's opening mail at this publishing house, and she is trying to get all of this mail together and answer them as quickly as she can. So one of the letters was from a young man who said that in a different part of town, there is a light that was out on the lake. And it's kind of weird because it's one of the brightest lights that was inside of the lake. So she reports that Public Works department, and they go and investigate and try to fix the light, but then they find a body that's inside of there. Now, it's kind of strange, or more of a coincidence, that this happens because earlier we didn't had Miss Madeline has found Mrs. Fine's body, and now she has found a second body, and they're trying to figure out how is she coming up on this evidence, and what is she trying to do? Now, in this particular case, and later on they'll get to Mrs. Fine's case, but in this particular case for Chloe, the parents are pretty much giving up, and really the whole city has pretty much given up on this story only because she is a black woman. Now remember, we're in 1960s in Baltimore, and so it is a little prejudice that's going on. So they feel like black people die all the time, there's no need for us to investigate too much about this. But Miss Maddie is trying to make a case, and so she goes and talks to a psychic that the parents of Chloe has went to see. Now the psychic has went to the police department and gave the evidence that she knows, and basically, the last thing that Chloe had seen were certain colors of green and of yellow. Now, it was a little interesting because the last color that Miss Chloe was seen in was green, but we don't understand where the yellow is pretty much coming from. Now, Miss Madeline got some information that she wasn't expecting from the psychic, and that was the fact that um, Chloe also loved to wear fur. She also liked really, really nice clothes, but the psychic was trying to tell Miss Madeline that it's really something that's going on with you that you don't want to talk about, like you have secrets. Now, we found out that one of those secrets was that she really did like her prom date, Mr. Wally. And that was really the reason why she separated from her husband. But also on the summertime when she was 17 years old, she was having an affair with Wally's dad, which was very, very interesting. So when she married Milton, Milton thought that she was a virgin, but she really wasn't, because she actually had a baby with Wally's dad, an abortion, and she was having an affair. Well, not affair. She was having relations with Wally's dad. Also taking Wally to the prom, and then later on marrying Milton. So Miss Madeline was busy. Now, one of the chapters that was very interesting was chapter moviegoer. Because it kind of puts a different person in the light of who could have been a person of interest for any of these cases. And it was a man who put his hands on certain women that came into the movie theaters. He was having troubles with his wife, and so he really just wanted some female attention. So he would go to the movie theaters as a way to outlet what he was dealing with at home, and then he would um, put his hands on women's legs or try to put it underneath their skirt or on their chest in order to feel that female touch. But as soon as that happened, or the women would start screaming, he would run out the door into the alley, out the exit way, to get away from all the drama. It was surprising because that could have been a potential suspect, that could have been part of the case. Now, like I said, Miss Maddie is on a adventure trying to become a reporter, so she is digging into people's past that really just needs not to be touched. Now, anybody who is a part of Chloe case, or anybody who is questioned throughout or knows anything about Chloe just really doesn't want to have any parts of it. Later on, we find out the reasons why. But Maddie is really trying as hard as she can to be able to unveil what is happening with Miss Chloe. So Miss Maddie is going to go to the Flamingo, which is a club, and she'll start there and trying to get some more information on what happened to Chloe and who knows Chloe, or any type of information or leads that they might have. So she goes to the Flamingo and talks to the bartender. The bartender does give her some type of information. And then we find the owner, which his name is Shell Gordon, and how close his relationship with a person by the name of Ezekiel Taylor. Now, Ezekiel Taylor is trying to run for a Senate seat. He is a married man, but he has had relations with Chloe. They are in love, but it might damage his marriage because he's been married to his wife, Mrs. Taylor, for a little while. Gordon knows what's happening, and he's been buying all of the clothes that Miss Chloe has been wearing throughout this whole entire book. The furs, from the hats to the jackets to the skirts to the whole suits and purses and everything that she has really been flashing around with. Now, we also know that she's friendly, so not only is she having relations with Gordon, who's the owner of the Flamingo, Ezekiel Taylor, who is the owner and trying with is the owner of a Easy Cleaners, and also is trying to run for a Senate seat, but also with the bartender who is trying to give some information to Maddie. Now, everybody is trying to tell Maddie to drop this case. It's not in your best interest to undig this thing because it's so many high officials that is involved into this finding. And so it's best for your safeties that you don't end up getting killed to leave this alone. Now, like I told you, each chapter is followed by a different viewpoint of another person. So we did get information from the bartender right after this chapter when Maddie went into the Flamingo. And so the information is that he might have been the person who had took the order from Mr. Gordon, who's the owner of the Flamingo, to kill Chloe because she was putting up so much riffraff with Mrs. Taylor and what could happen for the Senate seat. He, who is Mr. Gordon, the owner of the Flamingo, just wanted to get rid of Chloe. So he asked the bartender, which his name is Tommy, but they nicknamed him Spike, to kill Miss Chloe. Now, Miss Maddie is not giving up. She's still continuing on with her information. Now, she doesn't know the whole history of the Flamingo, Mr. Gordon, Ezekiel Taylor, or any of that. But she has gotten a hint, her friend that she has befriended in this city, and her name is Judith. Now, Miss Judith lives with her mom and dad. She is in a off family that makes a lot of money, and she basically is trying to have her own identity away from her mom and dad, but it's kind of hard. So she befriends Maddie in order to see if she can get that chance to be an individual of her own. And so Miss Judith is pretty much giving her some information that she had no intention of knowing if she would have been able to find it out on her own. Judith basically explained to her who all of these people that was involved in Chloe's murder to light, and that gave her a chance to go talk to Ezekiel Taylor's wife. She literally walked right up to the door and started talking to her, asking her, is her husband at home, asking her if she knew about the affair or if she even knew who Chloe was. And what I told you before, the vantage point of the next chapter is the wife technically already knew what was happening, and she was happy that Miss Chloe was dead because it would have ruined their marriage. Now, with all of this going on about Chloe's murder, we really have some people who feel very guilty about it. So Spike, which is the bartender that was at the Flamingo, has decided to go ahead and turn himself in as being one of the accomplices for Chloe's murder. And as he's doing that, Chloe's father is really upset about it and goes to the courthouse and tries to shoot Tommy Spike. And he ends up missing him and hitting a young police officer, and he ends up in jail. So not only has Chloe, we found out who the killer is, but we also have her kids that's still left with the mom, and now her dad, who is in prison for trying to avenge her murder. Now Maddie's fire is starting to burn out, and so she has to find some more cases in order to really get this or secure this reporter position. So she decides to bring up Tessie's case again to see if we can go ahead and close that up. She is running out of leads and she really doesn't know what to do. She has tried to exhaust all of her resources that is around, and she really just lands on a gold mine. So what happens is her lover, Freddie, when they were in bed at night, he says that he has a lead, and basically that at the day of the murder, when Tessie Fine is gone missing, Stefan had called his mom from the shop. So Miss Maddie decides that I'm going to just go straight up to Stefan's mother's home and see if I can get a confession out of her. Now, the only way she did that, or the reason why she did that, is because with Freddie being inside of the police department, he does hear certain leads. And if she would have went straight to her publishing house and told them what she knew, they would automatically knew that that information had came from Freddie. So to avoid that, she decides to go straight up to Stefan's mother's home and try to see if she can get a confession out of her. And she got more than she asked for. She went into the house and started asking about the murder. The mother is pretty much putting it off on the fact that her son had went to the army years before, and he wasn't the same when he came back because they were doing certain experiments on him, and that changed him. And she didn't think that her son was well. But honestly, it was the mother who was not well. Not only was Stefan the one who ended up killing Tess, but it was also the mother who helped be an accomplice in seeing this woman, Tessie Fine, murdered. So Miss Maddie is now in high gear. She has solved Miss Chloe's murder, and she has also solved Miss Tessie Fine's murder, but she ends up landing herself in the hospital. But in getting the confession from Stefan's mother is also unill as well, and she is trying to stab Maddie to the point where she not only stabs herself, but also Maddie, and cuts her in her stomach, and she ends up in the hospital. Now, the turn of events that happens when she is at the hospital that made this book just completely great was the fact that a young lady comes in and visits Maddie while she is in the hospital, and that person is Cleo Sherwood. Now, we all thought that Cleo Sherwood was dead, but she actually was alive. To sum it up, before we end this review, Cleo Sherwood faked her death because she really wanted to be in a relationship with Ezekiel Taylor. It was going to be a devastating one because he was going for the Senate seat, and she really didn't want to destroy his marriage that he already had, but they were in love. So they used Chloe's roommate, Latricia, as the body that was the lady in the lake, so that she could fake her own death and she can be able to live her life with Ezekiel Taylor. Now, the questions that we have for this book is if they ended up being together at the end, and we do not have that definite answer. But Ezekiel Taylor has decided to sell the cleaners and move to New Mexico. They could have been in a relationship there because they were thinking, if nobody knows that Chloe is dead, not even her kids, her family members, anybody, they could have easily went and live their new life in New Mexico, because Ezekiel's wife has decided she does not want to leave Baltimore. She actually wants to stay there. And so he sells everything he has and he goes on to New Mexico. So they could be in New Mexico together. Updates on the other people inside of this story was Freddie ended up getting rich, which was Maddie's black lover. He ended up having 3 kids with his new wife. Judith, which is Maddie's friend that was feeding her the information, ended up getting married, finally. Thomas, who confessed to Chloe's murder, the bartender, ended up taking a lesser charge, and he got out of jail, and he started a bar with a friend of his. Chloe's dad ended up dying in prison, and the big finale was that Miss Chloe is still alive. Now, what she's doing with her life, we do not know. But I did enjoy this book. I would definitely give this book a 5. It was something that was very interesting. I didn't get a chance to do all the little small details, but we will get to see this movie in real time on Apple TV on July the 19th of 2024. These cases was done in 1969, so these are true cases for Cleo Sherwood and for Miss Tessie Fine. I don't know if they use the same names, but at the end of the book, we did get a chance to hear from the author, and the author did say that she uses it as a newspaper novel, and she actually based it off of true cases that happened back in 1969. She was taken after her father, who was a columnist at The Sun, and she really enjoyed making this book, and it was something that I truly enjoyed, and I hope all of you got a chance to read it and enjoy it as well. We'll be happy to see what happens as it comes to real life, like I said, on Apple TV on July the 19th. And then if you enjoyed this review, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Or if you want to talk to us in the comments or on our Telegram, I'll leave all the links in the description box so that you'll be able to get a chance to click and go straight on over there and have a discussion with us about The Lady in the Lake. Till next time, don't forget to follow us on our platforms, and I'll see you on the next review. Bye, guys.
May need this nugget of encouragement. Things will be alright, so quit your worry. I get it. The odds seem stacked back against the wall, but if you consider it such, no, you'll stand firm. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games we play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over soon. Ever